This is the plug which has gone in, and if you look closely, if you look closely, the rubber seal has sealed all the way around here except right here a lot. And what happens is when the case gains pressure, because it is an air pump, when it gains air pressure, it will try and blow the air out these little ducts, out these little edges. And if you put some soapy water on here, you'll see it happen. I did see it happen. So what I do is, I've got all this cleaned off. I took a little Dremel with a little tiny bit on it, and what I'm doing is I'm roughing up the aluminum just a little bit so I can get a good grip for the 24-hour JB weld. You can see everything is clean, ready to go. I don't know what happened. Anyway, well, this must be coming up. Here is my racing clutch KRS with the yellow weights can be taken off. It comes with different springs, has black springs, yellow springs, and a Allen wrench. This here is your racing variator with, I think, 8-gram weights for a total. If you ever do variator weights, you always want to talk about your total, not the weights themselves. 6 weights, 8 grams, 48 grams. Okay, if you do 6 5 grams, 30 grams. This is a Pulley Boss, which goes on right here. Now, this Pulley Boss is supposed to be a high-performance Pulley Boss. And I bought it off of eBay, and I'm not sure just what it's for. This is your ramp plate, and these are KRS ramp guides, which go right on these little guides right here. And they work pretty good. And there's my JB weld that I use on it's 2-part epoxy. I use it on the oil plug. This is your starter pinion gear, and that just does not work in these big motors. They just don't work. And these are KRS weights. These are 9.5 or 8.5, I think. I'm not sure what the hell it is. Let's see what my pictures tell me. Yeah, I guess they are. They're 9.5s. See, that's the good thing about having 16 by 1200 pictures, is that if you can't remember something, then you can go back and recheck. Now, like I said, this KRS adjustable clutch, and believe me, these adjustments are very, very, they make a dramatic effect, because as your centrifugal force on your clutch starts to spin, it wants to throw these shoes out against this pinion right here. Now, if you were to put these, you take these off with the Allen wrench right here, and you can turn them backwards. So you've actually put a little bit more weight towards the back or the shoe of the clutch, and that changes the dynamics of the centrifugal force that wants to throw it out. Also, up here, what they've done is, on these springs, you can see there's actually 4 holes, and most of them don't have. Most of them clutches don't have anything near that for adjustments. You have a hole right here, which you could go to the top hole right there, top slot, or what it's done is it's gone to the second slot and gone to the top slot, or you could have this go to the bottom slot, and you could have this go to the top slot. But you want to have all your springs the same way. They're a lot easier to get on the KRS clutch, put the springs on, because it's made to have you take your springs on and off. And then this is an SEF ramp. ramps are different in, all the ramps are basically the same in outward appearance, but where the ramps differ is each of these ramp areas. This is where, right here, where the other end of the variator weight travels, right underneath here. Okay, well, these angles are slightly different. They're either more steeper or more flatter on different ramps. And what that does is it determines how fast that these weights, when they're thrown out by centrifugal clutch or centrifugal force, what they want to do is they come up out of their sockets and they push right there against the plate right here. So a steeper ramp guide will give you, you'll go into second gear faster than you would with a shallower ramp guide. And they're only off by a few degrees, the bend. So by trying different ramp plates, you can fine tune your gearing. And I haven't seen all the ramp plates because I just haven't been to Hawaii and gone to the shops or anywhere else. Now, what's very important with a stroker, you will need something called crank shims. You will need 3. If you don't use these, you'll be in a lot of trouble. Crank shims are not what people think as, well, you better tear your crank down and put them in between the bearings like a thrust washer. They're not that way. All they do is they go on the end of the crank, and then when this plate is put on, this plate right there touches the end of the, all it is a spacer, and you need them because of the, a 50 millimeter stroker crank is a little tiny bit longer than an ordinary crank, and you have to have the spacers. So if you go to order from VT before Christmas, which I suggest you do, and build yourself a motor, don't forget to ask for the crank shims. And this is a nice touch. I talked to Stephen Keone and I said, look, I want one of these chrome deals, and he said he didn't stock them, didn't know anything about them, where he could find one at the moment, but he came up with one, which was really nice, and went out of his way to find it for me. And then I got these really neat aluminum decorative bolts that I like a lot. Now there's the motor with, let's see, that's 30 millimeter carb right there, and the unifilter and everything hooked up. And I want to take a beauty shot of that and see what it looked like. That's looking at it from the top. The clutch has not been put on. I've just put in, or the clutch has not been put on, and the rear brakes. But as you can see, that's where your end of your, this is where the end of your that one major gear comes out. Your brake is built right here, which is super simple, and you put your wheel on there and tighten it down, and away you go. And then, like I said, right up in here, there's a little tiny clip with a little tiny screw that holds this main wiring loom away from the wheel, which will end up right there. And after you build one of them, they're really pretty simple. They're just fun to build. And you never know what you're going to get. You never know what kind of motor performance, or that's half the fun, is fine-tuning everything. And then you can see right here, let me show you this. This is what I mean. I was looking for this picture. If you look right here on the where the JB weld went, the JB weld was sucked down into the edge right here, so it's not completely sealed. So what I do is I'll go and I'll put just I may take a little sandpaper on that, and I'll put a second coat on there, and then you can see the big giant piston through the exhaust. You can see how big that bitch is. It's huge. It's got a great exhaust on it. And on this one, I did not port the exhaust. I didn't know about porting at that time. But this is normally how it goes. You have your water intake right here, and your water egress is on the top at the highest point, so that you keep the most water in the head at one time.